Hi everyone, it's Peg here with Bits and Pieces of My Artistic Life. I just wanted to do a quick share with you. Some of you are new to stamping and embossing and doing all kinds of these creative things for cards or in your journals, and so I wanted to kind of show you a few things. This is basically for newbies, and I do want to address some things with the gelatos for you too. Now, this is just some Nina Solar white cardstock, and what I have here is a bag of talc that I coat the paper with just to get rid of static cling. They also sell these. These are from EK. It has a little brush, if I can get it open here, that you can use to put your talc down with. This is refillable, so you can put more powder in here, and it's just to keep your paper from having that static cling when you go to put embossing powder on it. Now, when I talk about embossing, you can use just about any kind of ink. It just depends on how quickly you move. Some people say, oh no, you have to have embossing ink, you have to have this, you have to have that. Well, this is a regular clear embossing stamp pad. It has clear ink in it, and it stays wet a little bit longer than other types of ink. And that's why they say to use embossing ink, just because of the working time that you have when you're using it. This is a Watermark pad, and I recommend this for newbies if you don't have a pad, because this has multi-purpose. It will do a watermark on colored paper. If you stamp an image down, it will change the color of the colored paper. Plus, it's sticky enough that if you're embossing with it, here I'm going to take a stamp and I'm going to ink it up. And on a big stamp like this, you want to do it with the stamp facing you, because when you look at the stamp, you want to be able to see that shine where everything is glossy and it's wet with ink. And then also on a big stamp, I like to do it so that it's facing me like this, so that I can rub all over and make sure I make good contact, because if I'm stamping this direction, I may not always get good contact with the paper. So this way I know I'm making good contact and I'm making that ink transfer onto the paper. Okay, so now you can see, maybe not, that there's some shine on the paper where the ink is transferred. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some embossing powder. Actually, I don't think I want to use black because that'll be hard for you to see. I'm going to use some Gold Ranger embossing powder, and I keep them in these little containers. I have little spoons for smaller pieces that I want to work on, but for this, I'm just going to dump it out on my cardstock, move it around to make sure I'm coating everything. Shake off the excess, make sure I'm getting it on all of it. And then you can take your, this is just a piece of deli paper, wax paper, that I'm putting that back into my container for reuse for another day. And now you can see by looking at this that there's a powder sitting on top of that ink. So what you want is a heat tool, and there are several different heat tools on the market. I like Tim Holtz's heat tool for things where I want to disperse air and not heat so much. But if you're doing something like this where you want to focus the air, this is a Marvy heat tool. It's a lot hotter than the other one, so it's going to work faster. So there's going to be some noise. And as I work, as it changes, you can see the color change. You can see that it turns into a plastic, a melted plastic. And you can see the difference between where it's plastic and embossed and where it's still powdery, okay? So once you have that, I'm going to work with some gelatos on here. Now, gelatos are these pencil or crayon type things that have color pigment in here in this form, and you can add it to things like mixed media and change colors. You can go directly to paper, but as you can see, if you go directly to paper and you try to move that color, what you're going to get is you're going to see those lines still there. Where if I add my water here and I come back in, it's going to be more like a watercolor wash. Okay? So if you don't want to see the lines, work off on another piece of paper. Now, what I want to show you is working with a baby wipe on these images. Now, I've still got some of this here, so I'm just going to pick it up with my baby wipe, and you can see that I can add that to this piece just by doing that. But because this is embossed, it's raised up from the paper, so I can go on top of those embossed areas and I can add some color in here because it's not going to leave those marks because I'm putting it right on top of the embossing. And then I can come back in with my baby wipe because it's wet, and I can move it around as if I were water painting. Now this gives some really lovely effects. And for backgrounds on cards, I think this is a real quick, easy way of doing things. And you can keep working. You can add other colors. I'm going to add some yellow in here. And I'm going to add some, let's add some orange in here. And just remember that there's still color pigment here. So when you do this, you want to go to a clean spot, like if I'm going to go to another color like yellow, and I want to blend that out. Or if I'm going to go to this orange and I want to blend that out, move my towel around so that I get a different color area on that toweling, okay? So you can see the effects that you can get just moving that way. Now you can use lots of different colored embossing powders. Here I've used a black, and I put some of these purples and yellows and turquoise, and here I've used a silver embossing powder, and I've done more of the pastel pinks and yellowy oranges. So you can see there's a variety of things that you can do. Now, these are the original gelatos they came out with that have the color tube where you can't really see inside and see what you're getting. They came out with these pretty basic colors, and then they started adding to the line. And these are some of the newer ones that I have just gotten. They are kind of pearly and have beautiful colors. You can see they're a little more iridescent. So like if I want to get a little more shimmery or a different color than what I had before, these are really, they're a lot creamier, I think, than the original ones, and I don't know what that's about, but you can see as I do this, and let's add a little green in here. But you're gonna see some kind of pearly effects to this. So it has an iridescence, which is really nice if you're looking for that shimmery stuff, like for a wedding card, or, you know, you just like shimmer. I like shimmer. So can you see the difference? Can you see the shimmer on that versus the flat on this one? Okay, shimmer, flat. So that's kind of what I had to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, give me a thumbs up, like what I'm doing, share with your friends, And I'll see you again soon. Bye.